It's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Blackshirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? Welcome to Inside the Huddle. This is Jay Foreman. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Can take care of all your imaging needs, and also will get you a detailed and cleared path to hopefully some, in my case, some pain relief, and then hopefully a path for future surgeries. But then also they do a ton of stuff for breast cancer awareness. I think it's October 11th this year. Obviously, it's a little bit farther down the road, but we will be out there representing. Lisa and I know myself and Nick Sainer will be out there representing the ticket. It'll be the second annual official breast cancer awareness walk put on by Advanced Medical Imaging. Everybody will meet in the parking lot at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. I want a big shout out to Dr. Razdan and Dr. Finn, and then all the people that make it work over there. They do a lot of good work, a lot of great work as well, and they really care about people. Also want to give another thing they do some stuff as far as youth sports, as far as concussions, helping diagnose, treat, and then also educate, which is obviously, I think, just as important as diagnosing people with either a major or minor, if there ever is one with concussion. So I know about that all too well, but then also appreciate people trying to educate the youth out there as well. But the business of sports radio is obviously what we're doing here today. Harrison would be, I guess I would be, I wouldn't. This isn't my job, but I wouldn't be doing what I should be doing. Is obviously get some thoughts and prayers to the Sharp family. Obviously, everybody know. Unfortunately, Greg Sharp. He can. I feel like he in his present form obviously fought a great fight with and won against cancer, because it did not change who he was or who he is. It actually made it a lot better, and just probably brought light to him. And then obviously his fight with cancer, and then obviously unfortunately he passed away, but then obviously his legacy lives on. Obviously he has his name up there in the radio booth, for rightfully so. And then obviously his name is in his footprint and is on everybody that's ever came across him. Obviously yourself, Harrison, obviously you had met him. I know Nick Sainer, at 15 years old, got the job shadow him. But for Greg, it's probably a little bit different. I did post game with him for a very long time, and just knew him just in seeing him. And I'm going to tell you one thing, about Greg. I keep a lot of my personal relationships, obviously keep it personal, but he's a solid dude, man. Very gracious, very humble, very accommodating, fun, loved his family, and very smart. And he obviously really, really good. He's seen the good times, bad times in every sport that, in Nebraska history, through administration changes, personality changes, style changes and everything. But the one thing that was consistent was Greg, and talking to him, it was very humbling, but then also you always feel like you're a better person, talking to Greg. And I remember, hearing the news and seeing him, and thought, it would be a little bit different when I saw him. Nothing changed. How you doing? I remember sending him a text and just say, hey, look, man, I'm praying for you. And he's like, you know what, Jay, I really appreciate it. It means a lot coming from you. Thank you very much. And it was not a day that actually, went by. I remember seeing him still working hard, still doing his thing. And, when you think I got a lot of physical stuff going on that's going to affect me the rest of my life. Right. And then obviously, with him, probably knowing at some point in time it would be terminal. The way that he was able to battle and stuff like that is definitely encouraging, but then also let you know that he never changed, man. Being consistently consistent and being as great as he was and being consistently great. When I would tell you this, man, it's great people like that. You always it's weird because he's done so much good. He didn't deserve that, but then also that he probably embraced it and then came to terms with it. So I want to definitely give prayers and thoughts to everybody that knew Greg, and then everybody that loved Greg, but then also especially his family. I think his daughter was just recently getting married or about to get married. I know that I got two myself. And I know that type of relationship that you'd like that, hey, you have with your daughters, you definitely pop a bear 24/7. And it never stops. But you know what? I think the one thing about Greg that I'm hoping he knew, and I hope his family knows that there'll be plenty of people that they will be able to call upon for anything, and that will not change. And the main reason why that is, Harrison, is because, at least for me, and take anything, the little stuff that I do on the radio or anything like that. Anytime I ever call Greg and talk and need you just, you know what I mean? Never left you on read. Never hesitated to call. And a lot of times I would, and like, I'm not going to fashion myself saying that me and Greg are best friends. There's a few times that I've had to reach out to him. And this is even when I wasn't even here, got a hold of him and he wanted to interview me or ask me something and back and forth. But then he's like, anytime you need anything. And I wanted to ask him about something in particular, had never hesitated to call me and never hesitated to return a call. And that's to me, being present is always a big deal. And for him always to be present was something I always remember him by.
Well, and to your point, he didn't lose. Yeah, I think you're right to say that, because the legacy he left behind. I mean, that's kind of that final chapter where he just refused to give up. I mean, that's the stuff of legends. You ever watch the movie 300, Jay Foreman?
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. I like them all, man. I mean, it's
and you know why we remember the Spartans and everything? It's because Leonidas at the end there. It's that unwillingness to give up. We don't talk about the Greeks who gave up and headed to the mountains in the face of almost certain death. We don't even talk about the Persians who end up actually winning. We talk about Leonidas because it's just, there's something that's just kind of legendary stuff when you were willing to stand in that much in the face of it all, and then also be that public and continue to go to work the way he did. Obviously 2000, I think it was 2008, right, when he took over officially for the football.
2008.
So that's the voice I heard pretty much all growing up listening to Husker football, and I know my parents got a certain appreciation for him, because there's a lot of games where they were called a white knuckle game watching it on the TV. So they'd head out to the garage, get the radio call. It's a little bit easier to digest than when you got to see it live. So I know my parents are deeply going to miss his voice, and not, everybody. There's not a single bad thing I've ever heard about Greg Sharp. So thoughts and prayers to especially his family, and then just anybody who had the luck or pleasure to actually meet him yourself.
Yeah, and look, we're able to express it, and people, be able to listen to it. We're just thinking about all the people that he came across that don't, that aren't able to talk on the internet or whatever we're doing here. You know what I'm saying? So he's you spoke about 300 and you talk about leadership. One of the things that Greg is, men didn't even know it, but one of the and this is a story, head of a family, no matter what dynamics are, right? He talked about a true leader. You got me now?
Yeah, that sounds bad. We lost it.
Okay.
We kind of lost it.
Yeah. Coach Osmond used to always talk about a true leader is the one that could put the foot to the pedal and drive 100 miles an hour into the face of the storm. And what that means is it's kind of like 300, with Leonidas where everybody ran for the hills, and you could even talk about where Fred Hoiberg said, look, at times like you lose 6 in a row. This is where we got to tighten up. We can't scatter. He's got a big game today at Northwestern, and represent, and do what you need to do at the face of adversity. And he faced adversity. I mean, so I think Greg just is, you talk about Nebraska way or whatever you want to call it. I mean, he's a perfect example of it. It's a perfect example of it. I know firsthand with Coach Osborne, what he talked about it. It's easy, like when we're, you don't have any locker room issues and everything's rolling and you're just, boat racing people. But what do you do and how do you lead in the face of adversity, right? And probably that's the ultimate adversity, obviously, what Greg faced in there. But it's no different than when you want to correlate to sports and you correlate to movies. Some of these movies are crazy, right? There is correlation sometimes to real life, and whether you want to look at how simple it is or how hard it is and how far fetched it is. Crazy enough, some things that came true, but ultimately those things will not change. And so if you go and and one thing is like this, it's no different than coaching, right? And I know that this is kind of like we're talking sports, but not. But you always, and this is, I guess I'm not big into politics, but you could definitely just business. Mm-hmm. You generally know about a coach, a player, a person, personality, how they truly were after they leave, right? You talk about like some of the you talk about Bo Pelini and then the first couple of years of nice Mike Riley, right? That's just a boil over of the foundation he set, so forth and so on. And so same thing with Greg. I mean, he's gonna live on forever. Period. Absolutely. Sam Foltz live on forever. Period. Because of the way that they were as people. And that in this day and time is probably one of the most encouraging things out there, is that where you have people that were very influential, and and it happens everywhere, but ultimately now, obviously, we talked about Greg, you talk about Sam Foltz.
Yeah,
I was about to say in the Hoffman family, it's true blue people, and they have a big influence in how they treated people. One of the things is I remember getting a DM from Sam Foltz, right? And he was asking me about leadership and asking me. I met his dad, and I was like, man, you got a great family, and just essentially embody what they tell you. He was asking me how to be a leader. I'm like, dude, you already are. I know you're a punter, right? Right, but that people you can get people's ears because of whatever you do every single day. You have earned, demanded, and then consistently, I call it double down on your true respect. And so, what you say what you mean, and back it up by your actions, and be willing to receive, and then obviously, give advice and then walk with them. And so when you think about it, what you think is the Hoffman family, right? You think it's Sam Foltz, you think obviously Greg, and all the leaders through Nebraska history. And that's what we're talking about right now. Is definitely backed up by being a good person and good people. And nobody's perfect, right? But ultimately doing things for the right reasons, it definitely comes out in knowing you're doing it. And that's where the respect comes from, because if you're doing things, obviously on the up and up or the best of your ability, and you're respecting the whatever role that you're in, definitely people will definitely go to bat for you. And Greg's an example, Hoffman family's an example, Coach Osborne's example, and Sam Foltz is an example. There's plenty of examples to Nebraska, and so Greg just fits right in, with it. I know we got about 9 minutes. The great thing about it is that shifting to a little bit of sports. The baseball team had high expectations. UC Irvine got after him a little bit, right? Probably, I think they were probably a little bit more game ready. Then you're facing, and this is the crazy thing about it, right? Vanderbilt. I wouldn't call them a blue blood, but they're in a more recent history of blue blood, right? In my opinion,
I think that coming into it, and in years prior, they've been flirting in that top 25 consistently,
and they've been known as a baseball school, right? Mm-hmm. Baseball players are coming out there. They remember they had Rocker a couple years ago, and a couple other really draftable and high draftable players made it to Omaha, and so you're facing you're facing a little bit of demons, right? You let yourself down the first time. You didn't look Trump tight as a unit. And now you're facing a more, I guess, when you assume that they're more ready to go. Here you go, 0-2, same old, that type of stuff. Well, Greg Sharp loves some baseball, man.
Yeah, he does.
He loves some baseball. That's one thing that dude love. He loved being at the park, right? And you want to give shout out to his partner in crime, Ben. He's struggling because what people don't realize, like I'm not obviously doing it, where they spend a lot of time to each other. Baseball is a very long and grueling sport, and not grueling, but you spend a lot of time. You do a lot of prep. The games are a little bit longer. The post games are longer.
Well, some days you're there
right,
all day together,
all day. So you're in there. I mean, it's a what do they call it? Work wife, work husband, whatever. That's your relationship, right? But look, just when the Huskers started a little bit faster, right? I mean, a little bit better, had a little bit of lead. But when you had to put the nail in the coffin, right, and you needed a big man to step up, boom, all 6 runs, honoring Greg Sharp. There was nothing better to it, man, for them, especially for Coach Will Bolt. Obviously, everybody had, Greg on in the back of their mind, but then in the front of their hearts, and they represented well, man. And that's what you want to do, not only from this day forward, but moving forward. And it's one of those things that sports is crazy. I'm a big believer in the sports gods. I mean, I feel like if you work hard, do the right things, you create your own luck, but then sometimes you get some luck from a higher power based on the things that you put into it.
Yeah, and man, that was just such a gutty win. There's also what was Zimmerman took 101 or 90? It was a high 90 to the face, to the dome in that one. Final score of that, I believe it was 5-10.
Yeah.
I think it just says a lot to a team that's a lot of extra stuff. And it's just an emotionally charged game, and sometimes that can go well in your favor, and sometimes it can get away from you. Neither is morally wrong or right. It's just a lot to deal with in a short amount of time. And, that was a ranked opponent heading into it. Kind of shake off what was that UC Irvine game where you just didn't feel like that team was very clean. A lot of errors, just wasn't having a good day on the mound either. So this just says a lot about fortitude. I know it's early, but anytime you can get a turnaround like that against a ranked opponent, especially with everything outside of your sport, it just says a lot about, the leadership on the team. There's clearly some leadership. How good that leadership is, we'll find out as the season continues. But there's some people in that room that certainly, like here, and they got the job done.
Yeah, and that's what you need. And I mean, it's from Coach Bolt on down, support staff, and situational players, guys that aren't able to play in those games. You're just all pulling in the same direction. And that's for the baseball team. Then also the softball team as well, right? They had a little bit of a little bump in the road, but what do? You need the big time players, Jordy Ball, etc., step up and then get the party started. And they're already getting it started this morning. I saw on Twitter, the bottom of the first, I think they were up by at least 1 or 2 runs. I know Jordy Ball had a triple she followed up a triple after maybe a homer. And so, they're off and running too. And so I think it bodes well for the athletic department, period. But then, obviously the sports that are just getting started, with higher expectations than normal, right? You like to be able to meet those challenges. Never easy. And I think the one thing, we got a couple minutes that, obviously we're moving into potentially spring ball, kind of portals over, maybe winter conditioning still, is hot and heavy. And then spring ball will be here and, before you know it, expectations are a good thing, right? Meeting and exceeding expectations are excellent, but don't run away from expectations. It never works. So you never can shy away from it. Your expectations internally should be so high that externally what anybody says doesn't really matter. Right now, that's a saying that it doesn't matter. Now you should always take criticism and, process it and see if there's some truth to it. But more or less, if you have high expectations for yourself, they can't have any criticism that you haven't already kind of given to yourself. And criticism isn't a bad thing. That's a good thing. That means you have people that care. That means you have people that want you to do better than maybe that you're performing at, or maybe that people need to say criticism to actually have you combat it by your actions, but then also your facts, then actually will educate them as well. So it's always trying to look at it as a positive, moving forward and expectations, and being in this fishbowl in Nebraska comes with a lot more, way more positive than negative. And sometimes you have to look at the negative a little bit different. And the reason why I say that is because college sports in every sport now is professional and with media attention. So everything you do is going to be magnified. but slowly but surely, everybody's going to be getting paid. So you're getting a little bit of a Cliff Notes version of what it's like out there in the real world. Everything you do is going to be evaluated, and if you put in the extra effort and do what you need to do, more times than not, that evaluation is going to be come out in the positive end. And so, some kids got to grow up a little bit faster than others, but then on the flip side, you're paid to grow up a little bit faster, Harrison. I mean, I think that you can't have it one way where you just kind of receive the money and no criticism and accolades, right? That's when you get over accoladed, right? Where you come in and say you just play, up to your pay grade. Should you be, applauded for it? Sure. Should you be put up on a all-time pedestal? Probably not so fast, right? And so, that's the day and age of the college football. Obviously, this segment we started off with Greg Sharp, but then we talk about leadership, and part of leadership is being a young leader in this world of college sports and dealing with expectations. Because ultimately, when you are on a big stage, there are kids right now, like you were saying, that you grew up listening to Greg Sharp, right? So maybe that influenced you. I know it influenced Nick Sainert. I saw his post, right? So what you're doing right now is influencing, the kids coming up. So that's what part of it, and that's the good part of it, and that's the bad part of it. But it's kind of what you signed up for, and the expectations of it. So all around
to follow as well, right? I mean, we just have one best to do it. So that's that tree that kind of carries on. But like to your point that we've been saying, like one of the great thing to have is the blueprint of
right.
You got to be unwavering, you got to be professional, and you got to be available. That's Greg Sharp.
Right, man. And also when you think about it, he probably didn't. I mean, he probably had some that he could probably think to try to follow, but he didn't have him. He didn't have easy access to him. Like we could Google Greg Sharp. We could Google whoever you were influenced by or whatever. Like say like I was a football player coming up, linebacker. I'm going to Google Levante David or whoever. Back then he probably had to figure it out on his own. But one thing that he didn't have to figure out is be a good person. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick break here. Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll come back, Harrison. We'll talk a little NBA All-Star game, but then more importantly, we'll talk a little bit of Huskers against those pesky Wildcats coming up here at 2 p.m. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle. We'll be right back.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket. All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Fuhrer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
Riddle's Jewelry is excited to be celebrating 65 years. 65 years of so many incredible memories celebrating with each of your special moments. In celebration of the 65th Riddle's Jewelry anniversary, we will be offering up to 40% off all engagement rings and all diamond fashion jewelry. The excitement doesn't stop there. Riddle's Jewelry is also offering 18 months, 0% interest and $0 down financing on all qualifying purchases. Riddle's Jewelry has always been known for incredible customer service, one of the largest selections of engagement rings, and don't forget about the on-site jeweler. Come celebrate with us at Riddle's Jewelry, your one-stop diamond shop with exclusive Levian jewelry, Pandora Charm jewelry, and more, all at Riddle's inside Gateway Mall. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
What's the radon level at your home? Don't know? Find out with a call to Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Make sure your home is safe with a radon check from Bryant. If you've already tested, ask Bryant for a free estimate for mitigation. Once completed, you'll get a report showing how much safer your home is. When it comes to radon, call Bryant 467-1111 for testing and mitigation. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a champ, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce, and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. Touchdown! This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket. All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
What up? We're back inside the huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. This big head that you see on here is I am Jay Foreman. Harrison, it's NBA All-Star Weekend. You know, I think the one thing, the negative reviews, Harrison, you want to know where it started? You want to know why people are getting negative reviews?
Let me take a swing at it. When LeBron James stopped, didn't ever do the dunk contest.
No, I've seen him. I saw him in high school, not personally, like, obviously in person, but I saw the one
McDonald's dunk contest.
Yeah, that I saw that one. And it's the crazy LeBron story is that I had a former teammate. His name was Troy Evans, and he played at Cincinnati. And he obviously, probably he'd been hearing about LeBron. And I remember we were just talking, and he was like, man, he's like, Jay, this dude is supposed to be better than Jordan. He's the next Michael Jordan. He's like, it's guaranteed. And I was like, I said, listen, dude, I lived through Harold Miner. Before your time, obviously, Harrison. He was baby Jordan. He was lefty. They had Ronnie Fields from he played high school with Kevin Garnett, wore 23, could jump out of the gym. I think he had some off the court stuff. And all these guys are supposed to be the next Jordan.
It's never gonna happen.
None of them happen.
I thought you're the LeBron guy's the GOAT though, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
now
outrageous.
Hold on, it's different. The best, the GOAT basketball player, the number one assassin is Jordan. Everybody talks about Jordan 6-0, but they never talk about the Eastern Conference Finals and first rounds that they lost. I saw the 63 points against the Celtics, and they took that L.
But it was never Mike's fault. It just wasn't. That guy always showed up to play.
He did always show up to play. There's a couple times.
I have these stats randomly. I have them for DeMornay Pearson, but since we're on it, I was getting ready just so we can clear up the coach bit.
You want to get into it? Okay.
Hold
on, Harrison. Harrison.
Here, you get yours ready, and I'll read the stats.
Don't worry. I got it all. Let's just get this started, then. Go ahead. Let me hear it.
Games scoring less than 20 points. LeBron James 28. Michael Jordan 6. Playoff games scoring 15 points or less. LeBron James 14, Michael Jordan 1. NBA final games scoring less than 20 points. LeBron James 8, Michael Jordan 0. NBA finals games scoring 15 points or less. LeBron James 3, Michael Jordan 0. Michael Jordan showed up every single time. That's why he's the GOAT.
I know. You know what else he showed up with, Harrison? You know what else he showed up with? A plethora of Hall of Famers. A plethora of playoff losses prior to he decided. See, here's what Michael Jordan. Here's the difference in the GOAT conversation is significantly different because it's before your time. So the idea of a really good basketball player up until the Detroit Pistons in the Lakers, right, was you just had to come in and you were just an assassin, like you were just there to score. That's how they judged you. Winning championships was not a big deal. I'm just telling you, honest to God truth. That's where Jordan really went to the GOAT department, was Detroit, because they started to attack him from a stats. Those same stats that you talked about, right? The playoff ones was a negative. You do all this, but you still lose. You do all this and you don't share the ball. Well, then obviously guys start getting better. You started getting Horace Grant and all those guys. And then he started to defer. Then winning became more important, which he always Jordan did his thing. I mean,
that was still dropping 30.
Right. Difference. So he didn't, but he did it differently. He went from a volume score to a more efficient score. Well, on the back end of that, so here comes LeBron after that, right? So he plays the game. Now, granted, Jordan's the GOAT, right? But LeBron's very, very close. And it's a different type of GOAT, like, grading system, because LeBron has always played the game like Jordan Magic did when Jordan took off to six championships in a row. Essentially, the years that he played, he won 3, took a break, won 3 more, right? So the total game is different. But LeBron doesn't have that assassin mentality because he's never had to have that assassin mentality except for very few times. And so
I want to ask you this
right
about LeBron, because I do wonder if we're never even going to have a fair debate about it. I don't know if you can do, and this I'll actually give credit to LeBron James. He has to defer today. He can't necessarily just be Michael Jordan.
Right.
Because today, when you look at them, say it's like, we're in game 7, it's a playoff game. Well, LeBron James has the ball. He has the on-ball pressure, but they're also taking away that next closest pass. They also got a guy on the short corner ready for him to come downhill, and they're also watching that kick out, that far side 3. Like the defense has gotten so much better at anticipating, where the help needs to come from to stop that superstar, to make them defer. In Michael Jordan's era, the defense was good, but it wasn't to that point. Like if you could get through that initial double team, there wasn't a lot stopping you to take that shot. Today, it's gotten so much better.
The size of the athletes are different. It's way more. The game is extremely different. The mentality is different. The emphasis on winning is different because when LeBron was scoring a whole bunch of points and not winning, then it's like, well, you'll never be anything because, you haven't won championships. So then you start winning championships, then it's that. So the goal line is definitely moved. And I would say this, it's hard to fight a review of a one movie that's already been written. It's been played and it gets better. It's like Scarface.
And it's got a 9.9 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right. And it keeps getting better. It's like, I love the movie Scarface. You talked about 300. You talk about Game of Thrones. Those ones, they're hard to beat. And here's an analogy, right? So the new Game of Thrones series goes back to prior of the original ones. And they have more AI. They have more stuff. The stories are a little bit different. Don't beat the first ones. It don't beat the original. People ask you about the new Star Wars. It ain't better than the first one. When they were up there, have to do the different camera angles and just for the Millennium Falcons and all, they were just like little toys, right? These ones are straight AI generated, looks more realistic and all that. It's not the best. So, and it's not taken away from Jordan, but it is a different type of grading scale. And you won't appreciate LeBron. You won't appreciate KD. You won't appreciate these type of really, really, groundbreaking, basketball players until they're done. You got to think the great thing about the bigger debate is this: KD versus the likes of Karl Malone, Barkley, and all that, right? Because KD he's a 7-footer with guard skills. But if KD didn't ride the coats of Golden State, he's another Barkley, he's another Karl Malone, he's another I'll even go. I haven't dated myself a Brad Daugherty and those Cleveland Cavaliers team that gave Jordan the most. He's another Reggie Miller, right? What do you think of, right? And so the championship thing is one thing, but also I think the impact on the game, and I think obviously Jordan, I think right now had the biggest impact on the game. He could do it all, had to do it all. He did have some lean times, but people don't talk about that. They talk about what the greatest times, and same thing with LeBron. It's crazy. It's kind of like the you saw it here recently in football, the Patrick Mahomes thing. He wins 3 in a row, then all of a sudden he's the GOAT. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. You're close, right? Mm-hmm. You ain't on Brady status, bro. He did it for 20 years. Now it's a different game, different time. It's a little bit easy.
Always going to get the argument of playing in 2 eras too. So it's just something that Mahomes won't ever be able to even claim.
Right, and so in the game has changed. The rules changed. But I think people start to get into the GOAT thing a little bit too quickly, and it's a lot different, and it's no different than when you think of Oscar Robertson. He was the first one to average a triple-double. Or if you just think of championships alone, then it's Bill Russell. If you think of a player being the GOAT as having a move that was unstoppable, then you might think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the skyhook. They still can't replicate it right now. Where Jordan fadeaway. Maybe KD mid-range, Hezzy cross, into his mid-range, pretty much unstoppable. LeBron, the locomotive. Larry Bird, the turnaround 3 or whatever. So you just kind of whatever your flavor is. I was blessed enough to be able to turn on WGN, Harrison, and watch every single Chicago Bulls game. And then when that game was done, I was able to turn on TNT and watch Dominique Wilkins. That's another guy. I'm telling you right now, he was right there with Jordan.
Dunk contest winner at that height.
Right. But he was 6. But I'm talking about being able to fill to score. Like, people don't talk about Dominique Wilkins. And it's no different than Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson and all those guys. When those greats come along, it just so happens you're not able to handle it and stuff like that. So the NBA dunk contest was last night, Harrison.
Yeah. I want to hear your thoughts. I'm very curious to see what Foreman thinks about it.
I thought it was getting bad. They're gonna have to. I don't know what they're gonna do because the stars
too cool for it.
Are too cool for it. I like Mac McClung. I think that, I like that they brought him because he is a true dunker.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he went to Georgetown, and I grew up a big Georgetown Hoyer fan. That's where I'm from. And yeah, white guard go to Georgetown. I was like, all right, he was bamming on people, right? And he finally got his shot. He originally was with the 76ers. Now I think he's with Orlando. I don't know. It's hard because I think these guys are so protective of their brands and they want to get paid more to do less because they have, right? You got load management. So why would they get into a dunk contest and, risk injury and stuff like that? But I think you're going to have to get a new kind of rookie, the next up and coming big name guy that makes a splash when in his first 2 years to participate and bring some excitement into it. I think it's something that you always need because I think it's a huge part of the game. But I think that, but also I think this, Harrison, the change of the way the NBA is played, essentially threes or dunks. That's essentially pretty much more threes than anything, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's lessened the dunks. Think about Jordan's signature dunks, right? Dunking on Tree Rollins, dunking on Mark Eaton, dunking on Patrick Ewing, dunked on Dikembe. In-game dunks, which then say, okay, let's see what he does when he doesn't have to dunk on a 7-footer. Versus now, all of them are run-out dunks, and they generally don't. Except for Anthony Edwards and a few other guys, will posterize guys. Maybe some financial incentives. Maybe you do like the MLB, where it's like whatever conference you're in, you win an All-Star. Maybe you get the home court advantage. There has to be something to get some of those guys involved in order to make it a product that's both appealing to the fans that are there, but then also to the the masses that are watching on TV.
Well, I want to throw this pitch to you before we go to break. Pete Ferguson has actually thought about this one, and it's different, but I don't ever see getting the superstars to do it again. I really don't, unless you just want to pay them a ton of money. Which even then, we might get some guys just take the money and just kind of do it and not really try that hard because they got the money anyways. But if you take, because it's 5 people in the dunk contest every year. You take seeds 1 through 5, best overall record. So say you got Boston, you got Houston, you got OKC. We'll just throw in Los Angeles, and you can get another Los Angeles Clippers. And those cities, if they are top 5 by the time you get to the All-Star break, those top 5 teams find the best dunker just within their city. Doesn't even have to be on an NBA contract.
Yeah, and I like that.
Those dunkers represent their city for their team. And then if they win, the players, say you got a guy from Boston who wins it, the players get a little bit of extra money as well. So then the players are super rooting for the guys as well. And they're rooting for the guy from their city. Because I don't know if you're going to ever be able to get the stars in again. This is a way that's at least it gives the quote unquote no names a narrative. Because we just pulling G League guys up that nobody knows anything about. At least these guys nobody knows anything about, but there's a cool narrative behind it. Like, oh, this guy's representing the entire city in this dunk contest. And
you get to build up. Maybe you have like, prelim dunk contest. It could send the internet on fire, where essentially, say you get, I'm sure there's some good dunkers in Lincoln that, and obviously we don't have an NBA team, but maybe they got to go try out somewhere, right? Where, I think if you can do that and then get the teams and the organizations involved as much as they can, and he represents your team, I like that. I like that a lot because I think the 3-point contest is fine. I think you'll get snipers there, and that's just kind of always there. They do the skills thing. There's a little bit of a kind of like a NHL, hockey thing.
Kill the skills
right. And then the rising stars is fine. But yeah, I like that. I like that. Get it going and don't just hold it to the United States. I think I think I saw over in like Japan or China, there's a really good dunker over there that you'd like to get, kind of like if you want to expand the game, get them, I'm sure, the NBA is everywhere. So make it international, man. You want to bring more out. Just imagine if you got somebody from like South Africa or somebody, there's a lot.
We played in the USA Olympics in that opening round.
Right.
Every guy
was
like 7 foot and drilling threes.
Right. Like Senegal or something. Right. Just imagine somebody gets a shot from there and then that's their foot in the door to really playing basketball, but then also expands the game. So I like that suggestion by Pete. That's I'll give this before we break. For a Cowboys fan, that's the best thing he's probably said in 5 years.
Oh, he's
for
still
a Cowboy.
Great. I hope
for a Cowboys fan. Pete's a good dude. He's a good brother. But
we'll put this idea on the fridge because they're far and few between.
Hey, but I look at him though. Well, I had to sleep one eye open since he's a Cowboys fan. I'm sorry, man. Anyway, we're gonna take a quick break. Come back. We'll dive into a little bit of Huskers women's team playing in Illinois after the men's team beat the brakes off the Northwestern Wildcats. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll be right back.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket. All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today.
I'm ready.
Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check.
Except this one.
I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Fuhrer's cheese spread?
I can't stop eating it.
Rico!
Relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
Riddle's Jewelry is excited to be celebrating 65 years. 65 years of so many incredible memories celebrating with each of your special moments. In celebration of the 65th Riddle's Jewelry anniversary, we will be offering up to 40% off all engagement rings and all diamond fashion jewelry. The excitement doesn't stop there. Riddle's Jewelry is also offering 18 months, 0% interest and $0 down financing on all qualifying purchases. Riddle's Jewelry has always been known for incredible customer service, one of the largest selections of engagement rings, and don't forget about the on-site jeweler. Come celebrate with us at Riddle's Jewelry, your one-stop diamond shop with exclusive Levian jewelry, Pandora Charm jewelry, and more. All at Riddle's inside Gateway Mall.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
Well, we're back. Quick segment, Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. Once again, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. They take care of all your imaging needs and get you a clear path to hopefully some better days, both physically, mentally, and then obviously led by their great team of support staff over there. But the Huskers basketball programs have 2 games today. Men taking on Northwestern here in a little bit over an hour. Road game after a little bit of a disappointing loss against a tough and well-oiled machine Maryland team. Got to bounce back on the road in Evanston at Northwestern, which is going to be – they're always tough. They're always well coached. Obviously, Coach Collins does a really good job. Hopefully, it's a good omen that Nebraska got to go practice at the house that Jordan built, literally. Bring some of those – right, Jordan State, bring that assassin mentality, go in there and slay the dragon, or essentially, in their case, slay the Wildcats. In a game that's winnable, but you got to go earn it. You're not going to get anything easy at Northwestern or against a Northwestern type team. The good thing is this: what's his name? Boo Booey.
Yeah,
he gone finally. I seen him somewhere pop up on the internet. He's playing in like the G League or something. He might have been in college basketball for 50 years.
Him or Julian Reese that we just lost to in Maryland. I swear I see Julian Reese.
Yeah,
for like 10 years now. That guy's been haunting Nebraska. He plays good against us every year.
Right. And he's like a 10, and I didn't realize that he's Angel Reese's brother. And,
oh, really?
And she originally was at Maryland before she went to LSU. I didn't even know that. So it seems like Maryland always got guys about 6'9", 6'10", hit the boards, end up going into playing in the NBA, but Northwestern will have big physical bigs, and you're going to have to earn it. They're going to be able to shoot. But you know what? I think it's a good time for Nebraska to play 2 p.m. versus 11 and looking to get some get back. And then for the women, 4 o'clock prime time on Big Ten Network, which is good because I think on the flip side, they played before the men played Maryland. They played at Maryland, and obviously the men were at home. Get some prime time. I think they've starting to find their Amy Williams and coaching staff are starting to find their rhythm. The players as well. Britt Prince is obviously starting to grow up right before our eyes. Then we got a steady dose of Markowski. So they got to have to take that show on the road and show and prove. And so both of them, I think, will win games. I think it's going to come down for the men, especially if Burke is able to play, great. But I think you're going to have to get a little bit more and continue to get good play out of Raleigh. And then you got to get Connor Sejan going. And then obviously let's just assume that Bryce and Juwan Gary get busy. You get that third option. I think Nebraska will pull out that victory.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, as we're wrapping the show up here, that's kind of been the story for Nebraska all year is who's going to be that third weapon. If we don't have one, we're in trouble tonight. Because then we're really banking on that defense. Because even the first time we played Maryland, what was it, 63 to 66 or 66, 69? I mean, it was a game where we just
same thing.
Yeah, one more guy to put it in the hoop for us. So I don't, we're at a point where I think the chemistry's gotten a lot better. I think Burke, Bear Uchtengel, kind of ruined. I don't want to say ruined, but definitely hurt the offense a little bit because what he does, not offensively, but defensively, getting stops, helping them get that quick transition so they can get into that fast break opportunity because Burke is just a great defense player. And you can see without that, they had to start half court offenses a lot more often than maybe they would have liked to. Because they just didn't have that good defense from Burke, and they're kind of trying to figure out ways to patch that up. So I think it's pretty massive if he's in or not for this one, because he does do a lot just to get our transition going. But what he's able to do defensively and getting stops, you got them both getting a win today. I think Nebraska is still favored, bent at least 1.5 versus Northwestern. But yeah, I'm pretty confident about both. But at the same time, it's the Big Ten basketball, and
you just never know. It's never easy. But I think. Coming out of that storm at 6 wins sets them up better for today. Women's team is going to win big, but they got a tough battle as well because the Fighting Illini are always tough, man. They got good players, but we got good teams and we got tougher teams. And anyways, appreciate you guys listening. This is Inside the Huddle. Jay Foreman brought to you again, Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and enjoy your families as well. And obviously, once again, condolences and appreciation out to the Sharp family. We'll holler at you next week. Thanks, Harrison, once again, and I'll see you when I see you.